Hello and welcome to another episode of Mind Map. Today's topic of discussion is working class movements. First of all, we will discuss about the introduction and early efforts during Swadeshi movement, during the First World War, emergence and growth of trade unions, post-World War II, characteristics and issues of working class movement, and post-independence. First of all, moving on to the introduction and early efforts. Introduction. In the 19th century, India saw the emergence of the contemporary working class. This development was due to the establishment of modern industries, railways, dockyards, and construction activities relating to roads and buildings. The coal industry developed fast and employed a large working force. Then came the other industries such as cotton and jute. The Indian working class also suffered from the same kind of exploitation witnessed in Europe and rest of the West, such as low wages, long working hours, unhygienic and hazardous working conditions, employment of child labor, and absence of basic amenities. Early efforts. The early nationalists, especially the moderates, were indifferent to the labor's cause, differentiated between the labor in the Indian-owned factories and those in the British-owned factories, and did not want a division in the movement on the basis of class. In 1870, Sasipada Banerjee started a working men's club and newspaper Bharat Shram Jeevi. In 1878, Sorabji Shapurji Bengali tried to get a bill for better working conditions to labor passed in the Bombay Legislative Council. In 1880, N.M. Lokhande started the newspaper Deshbandhu and set up the Bombay Mill and Bombay Mill Hands Association. Thus, earlier attempts to improve the economic conditions of workers were isolated, which aimed at specific local grievances. Now let's discuss about working class movements during Swadeshi movement. During this, workers participated collectively for wider political issues. Strikes were organized in government press, railways, and the jute industry by leaders such as Ashwini Kumar Banerjee, Premtosh Bose, etc. There were initial attempts to form trade unions, but these were not very much successful. Subramania Shiva and C. Pillai led strikes in Tuticorin and Tirunelveli. Now, during First World War, the war and its aftermath brought rise in exports, increasing prices, massive profiteering opportunities for the industrialists, but very low wages for the workers. This led to discontent among workers. The emergence of Gandhi led to a broad-based national movement. Emphasis was placed on the mobilization of the workers and peasants for the national cause. Now let's have a look at the emergence and growth of trade unions. The trade unions emerged in India after the First World War. Emergence of trade union raised the working class consciousness. Gandhi's call for the non-cooperation movement, the Russian Revolution, etc. were the main factors which led to the emergence of trade unions. The Madras Labour Union, formed in April 1918 by B.P. Wadia, is generally considered to be the first trade union in India. The AITUC, that is All India Trade Union Congress. It was founded on October 31, 1920. It is the oldest trade union federation in India. Lala Lajpat Rai became the first president of the AITUC and Joseph Baptista its vice president. There were about 107 unions which were affiliated and sympathetic to the AITUC. Other leaders who kept close contact with AITUC included Nehru, S.C. Bose, V.V. Giri, Sarojini Naidu. Other unions. M.N. Roy set up the Indian Federation of Labour, that is IFL. By 1931, there were three national federations of trade unions, the AITUC, the Indian Federation of Trade Unions, and the Red Trade Union Congress. In March 1929, several trade unionists, including 3 Englishmen, were arrested for organizing an Indian railway strike. It is known as Meerut Conspiracy Case. The Trade Union Act 1926. It recognized trade unions as legal associations. It laid down conditions for registrations and regulation of trade union activities. It secured immunity, both civil and criminal, for trade unions from prosecutions for legitimate activities. Trade Disputes Act 1929. The increasing strength of trade union alarmed the government, which passed this act for more restrictions. It made compulsory the appointments of courts of inquiry for settling industrial disputes. It made illegal the strikes in public utility services like post, railway, water, and electricity. Post-World War II period. By the time World War II ended, India emerged as a major industrial power in the world. This had the effect of creating a sizable industrial proliferate in the major cities of the country. In the beginning, the movement was confined mostly to textile industry, as this was the first major industry set up in the organized sector. Organized labor movements have moved to plantations, mines, transport, as well as to service sector. Now let's discuss about characteristics and issues of working class movements. Characteristics. Following were the characteristics of the workers' movements. Indian trade union has a narrow operational base because of it is confined to the organized sector, and labor unions are generally plant-based and hence are commonly of small size. The movement is confined to only big cities of the country such as Bombay, Madras, Calcutta. The absence in it of a conspicuous class orientation, notwithstanding a clear anti-imperialist posture. Its close connection with political parties. At the apex of the union structure, there are several national federations formally affiliated to one party or the other. And the absence of autonomous growth. The movement is significantly dependent upon outside forces. Issues. Following were the issues of workers' movements. Most of the large trade unions do not appear to be interested in unionizing workers in the unorganized sector. The major problems of the trade unions is that they are unable to expand their membership to sectors outside the organized sector. It wasn't widespread all over India. The labor movement in India was focused on the welfare of the workers rather than advocating their rights. The movement suffers from enormous fragmentation both on cultural and party lines. Post-independence. The post-independence period also saw the formations of Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh in 1955. The AITUC split leading to the formation of the Center of Indian Trade Unions. In the post-independence period, the state became the sole arbitrator in the relationships between the industry and the working class. During this period, the main concern of government was to achieve growth, industrial pace and peace between workers and the management. Now it's time for the practice question. First of all, prelims question. With reference to the working class movement in India, consider the following statements. 1. Bombay Mill Hands Association was formed by Sasipada Banerjee. 2. Lala Lajpat Rai presided over the first session of the All India Trade Union Congress. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Only one, only two, both one and two, or none of these. And now mains question. Illustrate how the movement of the working class was developed during Indian freedom struggle. So that's all for today. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching.